I sent you on Twitter the
Yeah. Oh, we're on. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Sanchize405 coming at you. It's on the Warpath. It's the Amir coined Warpath to the draft, and we're doing a Redskins draft preview. After tonight, I don't want to hear another damn thing until Thursday about who the Redskins are going to pick. But chances are we're going to forget that. We'll forget that by tomorrow anyway, or by the end of this video. But yes, we got Mr. Amir on there. Mr. Who can't tell me when he's going to post a video up. It makes me look like a fool. After that, I put a suit on for that video, bro.
Just conveniently, put on a suit. Yeah.
Yes. And
you and your LeBron James looking self.
Whoa! Don't talk about the hairline like that. And then we have our buddy from across the way, and we've got JD here from Redskins Rant. His URL is in the link, so go there, click there, subscribe, give this man some love. I know some people have, but give him a little bit more love. We all need love in the world. But
all you need is love.
Okay, but JD, yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're
doing good,
just living. Yeah,
I caught your video yesterday. Caught your video.
Yeah, we caught yours too. I actually sat down and listened to it, and man, I'm coming after you in a second, but
okay.
And you need to come after me too because we disagree on two players.
Okay.
But before we get into the draft, I know you saw the schedule come out and everything like that. First thoughts, what'd you think of it?
Well, I mean, if we can get through the first 5 games and not be under, like, if we at least win like half of our first 4 games, I think we're gonna be okay. Because that's a tough start. That's like what 4 playoff teams right out the gate.
Yeah, plus the defending champions.
Yeah, so that doesn't help either. So yeah, that's tough. But if we're gonna be a good team, you got to beat good teams. So it's a test early. So if we come out of that, let's say we come out of that and we're 3-2, I think you got to look at that as a positive. That's the way I look at it. If we come out of that and we're 0-5, well, that's obviously a negative. But I mean, we got kind of messed over on the schedule this year. But at least when's our bye? I missed one of our bye ones.
Week 10.
Yeah, week 10.
Okay, I think we actually got a nice bye. I hate early buys, especially the way we've had injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I
think that's why we've had injuries the past couple of years because if you notice, we weren't that injured in 2015 or 16. And I think we had late buys then.
I think it ties in a little bit too. Also, there's been reports that Bill Callahan's been overworking our offensive line. And that's why our O-line's been hurt a lot the last couple of years, last 2 years at least. So that's the report that I heard. JP Finley talked about that on a podcast right after the season. So that could be part of it too. But yeah, you also don't have time to recover late in the season as well. And it doesn't help having those Thursday night games because then you don't have any time to recover right after you play on Sunday. So that doesn't help either. So the combination of both those things the last 2 years really haven't helped us. So, but in response to just like if we get past the first 5 games and we're 2-3 or 3-2, I wouldn't be mad about that considering, I mean, we don't know what our team is yet, so we can't really judge how good or bad we're going to be. But I don't know. We kind of always seem like we kind of get like the short end of the stick whenever it comes to getting a good schedule. I do like the fact that we get to play Kirk Cousins on a Thursday night. I can't wait to see that game. I got that penciled in.
That game is so bad. I don't care if we go 1-15 if that's the one win.
I'm the same way. I think I'm penciling in. I just got off topic. I just got promoted, so I can make my own schedule now. So I'm penciling that day off.
Oh, congrats!
So, yeah,
congratulations.
Thanks, man. But other than that, I mean, we can get an easy schedule and then walk into the playoffs with not really being tested and lose the first round. Or we can play a tough schedule, maybe barely get on that wild card, and then we actually have been tested. We play good teams, so you can look at it either way. I used to coach high school basketball. I always look at you want to play the best teams to make yourself better, but that's the way I look at it. So we're not going to get good playing the crappiest teams in the league.
That's true. That's true. I mean, but you could win a division. So the Giants, if that's any solace, the Giants are gonna, with that 4th place schedule, probably be the best team in the division.
I mean, when Green Bay won the Super Bowl, weren't they like a wild card with like a
they were blew through
wild
Philadelphia.
Card, they were 10-6.
We actually beat them that year too. That's what's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a streak. There was a streak for a while where we would play the eventual Super Bowl champion and beat them that year.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we had. Yeah, that was like a good straight 10 or 11 years, except for the years the Patriots won. We can never seem to beat them.
Yeah, that's true. I think even in that one year, when they come to Washington, which has only been twice since Brady's been the quarterback, I mean Washington's played them pretty well. I mean, Rex Grossman was going toe to toe with Tom Brady back in 2011. So
yeah,
I just
and honestly, Kirk was pretty accurate in 2015, but they dropped so everything. Many drops. There was like 15, 16 drops in that game.
Not to mention, we started really low out the gate. And what I mean by that is, like, I think they got the first possession, then the onsides kicked. Or, like, we muffed the kickoff or something, and then they onsides kicked. So they went up 21-0 or, like, 17-0 very early in that game.
Yep.
And it completely took our running game out of it. Matt Jones got, like, 4 carries that game or something like that. That was the same year that the Carolina Panthers, we got really messed over. Like, someone knocked the crap. I forget who it was. Someone knocked the piss out of somebody. I think once it was like Greg Olson, and we got called for unnecessary roughness, and it was like a pick 6.
Yeah,
and we were going toe to toe with them the year that they went like 15.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that we got like really screwed up. And then after that, like the Redskins, and this is what I'll say about the Redskins the last like 2 years. It doesn't seem like adversity is like costing us games anymore. Like they don't seem like pack it in. That's what I noticed last year. I don't know if you guys noticed it or not. Like whenever we played the Texans and Alex Smith broke his leg, like the team didn't just pack it in. Like it fueled them. There's another fire. They had a fire in their belly, and that's what I noticed.
And they rallied behind Colt, and that's why Colt is a good leader. And
I just think that the team attitude is better too. Mm-hmm. Like they have a better class of guys.
Yeah,
as well. We don't like that one game I was talking about with the Carolina Panthers. That pick 6 that we didn't get that got called back. We like never moved the ball after that. Kirk was. Well, I don't know if it was Kirk, but the whole team just couldn't move the ball, and the defense was not productive at all. So I didn't see that last year. I think a little bit of a different attitude. Now, whether maybe it's the players we're drafting, like Payne and Allen, that's a different kind of mentality when you're coming from a winning system. So they don't give up easy. But I've noticed that.
Oh yeah, they don't die easy. Even when they lost Colt McCoy, they were still playing. Halfway deep. I mean, that Giants game was kind of that. I think they were just kegged out, but there's games that they stayed in there and they kept on swinging. And I mean, that's the one thing you can always hope for the team is to go out there and keep on swinging. Don't give up. And I don't think they gave up. I just think the bottom fell out of me, especially like when they were in Tennessee. That was a winnable game. It just the talent that you didn't have the talent where you needed it, and that was at the quarterback.
Well, I think the key word is probably heart.
Yep,
I think that's something we haven't had in a long time, and it seems like we may not have it all the way, but we seem like we have a little bit more than we've had the last few years.
So. Absolutely,
I agree.
But yeah. So we will we'll just look like you said. It's that's what you play. That's why they play the games and everything like that. And if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's what that team's going to have to do come September. And we're not counting we haven't counted injuries. We're talking about what people have done in the past, not what's in the current. So you never know what could happen. Could sneak by New England. We never know. Tom Brady could, something might happen to him. He might decide to retire.
As Max Kellerman claimed 3 years ago, he may actually finally head for that cliff.
Yeah.
So you never know. He claimed 3 years ago he's heading for a cliff.
Yeah, well, we hope it's in Washington on that terrible turf, but we've got some draft, some mocks. I'm not. And y'all don't get mad at me when I say this. I hate this whole process. I really do. This draft process is the most convoluted, elongated thing in the world. I wish they would just do something in March and get it over with. Let them have time with their team. And, I just think it's elongated. Mike Mayock's gone, so it's really no fun, and unless you're seeing what Mel Kiper's doing wrong. But the Redskins have like holes everywhere outside of defensive line. Which, before we get to the draft, Matt Ioannidis got re-signed, fellas. What do you guys think?
The itis.
Yes.
Back to give fits to the offensive lines.
Yes, that's true.
I love it. I mean, we're going to talk about the draft here in a minute. It kind of goes along with my draft predictions a little bit of what we're looking for. And I think signing him kind of told a little bit of a tale of what we're looking for in the draft, because everyone said edge rusher. And I think signing him, I thought we weren't going to sign him. And I thought we were going to have him in limbo and draft somebody. And we might lose a player that's been very productive for us. That's what I thought initially. But after signing him, I think I have a little bit of an idea of what the Redskins are looking to do in the draft. I think I kind of just told a little bit of a tale there.
Yeah, so that's good. And with Matt Itis, and so now we'll go into what the title of the video is. We're going into the draft, and we've had some questions about what the Redskins need to draft. They've got holes everywhere. It looks like a cheap Green Bay where you could get anybody. You don't have wide receivers there. You're a net tight end is either aging or it's hurt. Back position. You're, like you said, an edge rusher. You can use somebody on the back end with the safety. You need another free safety, I think, or even a corner. So there's a lot of things that the Redskins can draft here at 50. But since you're our JD, I want you to go ahead and talk about what the Redskins are going to do at 15, or are they going to stay at 15? Or are they going to trade down, or what's your thoughts?
My thought, well, I mean, honestly, I have a guy I think we should get. Now, my opinion is I think the defense is heading in the right direction. I think we need to actually turn our focus a little bit more towards the offense. We focused on defense the last two years. We focused heavily on the defense. Let me rephrase that, in the last couple of years. Now we need to turn our focus back towards the offense. I think we need like a big number one receiver. Now, I like DK Metcalf. Now, I know I've heard you guys say you're not a big fan of him. I'll plead my case. I was actually a fan of him before the combine. I heard you say that last night, so I'm going to be honest with you. I was a fan of him before the combine.
Gotcha.
And I know all the reports are out that he can't run routes or whatever. Listen, you have all these ex-coaches, analysts, talent evaluators, coach, or ex-NFL players. They're putting him high up there for a reason. I mean, they don't just. I mean, if he was just a talented guy, they can put him in like the third round and say he's got high upside. There's a reason why he's going to go in the first round. It's not just because of his talent. There's other reasons for that. And when you have someone who is 6'3", 230, 41-inch vertical, 6'8" wingspan, I mean, and he's also faster than Deshaun Jackson. Fastest guy in this draft, who's faster than Deshaun Jackson, and he's bigger and stronger than Deshaun Jackson. I just think there's too much there to just ignore and just say we got to pass on that. Now, I'm going to be on the other side of that coin. If he's not available at 15, I'm not going to be heartbroken, okay? Because he is a little bit of a risk. I get that, and we haven't had good luck drafting receivers early. I would like a receiver. I would like if let's say he gets drafted by Green Bay, right? Let's say Green Bay picks him up, and T.J. Hawkinson falls to us. I would love to pick up T.J. Hawkinson. I think it would be fools not to if he lands in our lap, especially because I don't see Jordan Reed being on this team after this year. In fact, I want him gone now. But if we can't find anyone to trade for him, I just don't see it happening. But if we can't get either one of those two, unless we have like a player that like just falls in our lap, like Jonathan Allen did 2 years ago, we trade back because I do think we're going to trade and get Rosen. I think the Redskins, that is their way to fix their quarterback situation for at least the next 3 years. And if he develops into a good player, great. If not, he'll be mediocre and he'll be cheap. So that's what I think we should do with our the 15th overall pick. So those are the two positions I'm looking at.
Okay. Now, Amir, I'll let you go ahead because I know you do this better than I do. So
oh, no problem, bud.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of on the fence about DK Metcalf myself. I thought, I thought I was watching Super Saiyan Goku at the Combine. That's pretty much what I thought about when I saw him. And
I didn't see his hair turn yellow, but I got you.
Oh, God. I've seen how he started. He looks like he plays like Krillin sometimes when he's not at games. So
no.
Has he died 5 times already?
Hey,
he might have.
What was it? 2016. He played 7 games or something like that. So
yeah.
They commented on that. Those are freak injuries. I don't want. He comes off as injury prone, but those are freak injuries. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you guys, man. But yeah, I saw the Combine performance too. That was the first I heard of him. I hadn't really done much research into the draft until then. But I heard about his bench press, and then I was waiting, and I saw his 40 time. I was just like, "Oh Lord!" And I'm on the fence about him. He said actually at the Combine that the team that impressed him the most was the Redskins.
Right.
During the interview process. So there's that. I think though at 15, if we're gonna go a receiver, we might go with the other Ole Miss receiver in AJ Brown, who has more playing experience, better hands, and a little bit more sturdy. And he also, he has decent speed as well. So he's not that full, I'm gonna go Mach 1 full burner, but he has good speed. I did another mock draft today. I sent it to both of you, and I also had us trading back a couple times. I actually traded back twice. I traded back to 18 and traded back to 22. At 22 is where I picked AJ Brown. 23. And then was it 23?
Yeah, it's 23. I got it right in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now.
And at 23, I then used those two. What I got in return was two additional second round picks. So what I did was I used the first 2 second round picks we would have had, a third and I think a 7th, and I traded back into the first round with the LA Rams and picked up Daniel Jones. The reason why I did that was so that way we could see, or we could have that 5th-year option for Daniel Jones. Because all first-round contracts get the option of the 5th year. Anyone past that do not.
I'll be honest, Daniel Jones is one of the 2 QBs I would take in this draft, so I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then with my second round pick, I went ahead and got Paris Campbell. So that way we got 2, who's more of a speed guy. So we got 2 top 10 receivers in this draft, and then quarterback of the future for all 3 of them to grow together and for them to get some chemistry going from day one.
Corey?
Yeah, so that's big. I did mine at 4 a.m. So I saw him there, and I know y'all. Yeah, I know JD. You have reservations about him, but I took Drew Lock with my first pick, and I traded back like so many times. I don't know how I got these draft picks. This thing is addictive. How did you find this website? I just want to tell you, it's like the most addictive thing. But I wound up getting.
You want to beat your score every time too.
Yes, it is like just crazy, and I'm like, how in the world in this draft? And I'll say it here. And I like Drew Luck because he played in the SEC. He played against premier competition. He played in the coldest SEC school. So I think he kind of has it in that regard. But I see where he has those lapses. So I'm nervous about him. And, I took him, though. I traded back with Baltimore. Then with that 14th pick, Hollywood Brown was there in the second round. And Irv Smith was there. I'm like, how are these guys there? And those were, and that's two things that I think we need. And like you said, I agree with you too. I don't think Jordan Reed's leash is short, very short in Washington. I think shorter than
I would agree.
what people realize. Because he can't stay healthy. He can't. If he looks at a blade of grass, he's out for 2 to 5 weeks. And I talked about, we talked about this before. He's had so many concussion issues over the last 2-3 seasons. It kind of gets to the point where when are you gonna pull the plug on this? Because your livelihood is more than playing a game. I believe that wholeheartedly. So I really think, like, if Irv Smith is there, you'd be crazy not to go there, because Hawkinson, I don't think he gets out. Like you said, probably the top 20. He's not going to get outside there. But I think
I don't think he gets out of the top 10.
You
I don't think Noah
out?
Font gets out of the top 20 either.
I would agree.
Yeah. And then I had actually in the third round, I thought this kid, I heard a lot about him, Isabella from Massachusetts. I just
receiver,
thought
right?
Yeah, you got a kid that's played punt returner. He's played inside. He can play the receiver. He's got a little bit of speed. I thought he was going to be interesting there with that pick. And my thing is, I'm so anal retentive. I actually clicked on each player before I drafted them and went to the Google thing, and I was like, what's this kid all about? Let me see. I don't like him. No, he's too fat. He's too slow. And that's kind of where I came. I had Bryce Love up in here. But I think you got to rebuild in the secondary. So that's why I took David Long from Michigan. And then you get another Alabama defensive boy in Cameron Smith, if he's still there, in the third round. Not Cameron Smith, Christian Miller. Sorry. That was my one flub pick, was the guy from USC. But that's kind of what I have there. And your guys' thoughts?
Well, you know how I feel about Drew Lock. I also think he's going to be it's 50-50 on him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind him. He has an amazing arm, great arm strength. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. But if we don't get him, because I know Denver's really high on him as well, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me nervous too with John Elway, because I feel like he's a fraud when it comes to manning a team, and I think he lucked up with Peyton Manning in that leadership. But
my issue with Drew Lock is I watched a film breakdown of his. It was like an hour long. It was on YouTube, and the problem that the biggest problem they kept showing with him was his inaccuracy throwing on the run.
Mm-hmm.
4 years starting, and you still can't fix that. I don't think that's ever going to be fixed. That's my biggest issue. And with the Redskins, our offensive line, when healthy, it's not a bad offensive line, but with the way we've been getting injured the last few years, you need a guy who can move and throw on the run. And he was missing guys wide open. Now, I get it. He's got a strong arm, but you got to be able to have accuracy. I mean, Jamarcus Russell has a strong arm, didn't make him a good quarterback.
Right.
So, but Drew,
neither did Krispy Kreme.
Do what?
I said neither did Krispy Kreme.
That's true too.
It's purple drink.
I think someone's going to take him, and someone's going to take him, and they're going to have to develop him for 2 more years. I don't think he's started, like, he can't walk in and start right now. So that's why I don't think he should go that high, and I think someone's going to reach for him, start him early, and ruin him. Personally, that's what I think is going to happen.
Which is funny, because Jay Gruden said in an interview that he believes that Drew Lock is probably the most pro-ready that him and Daniel are.
I like Daniel. The other one I like is, if you look at my draft, was Will Grier. Will Grier, the reason why I like him, now again, I did my draft assuming that we got Rosen with like picks next year and trading away Case Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Will Grier, I think you can bring him in, and he wouldn't threaten Rosen for the starting spot. So it's not like a Kirk Cousins RG3 situation where they drafted literally the guy who could take his job like 2 picks after they already got RG3.
Right.
I think Will Grier could come in and he can literally be that development quarterback that I mentioned in my video. Now, I did want to comment on you said like we don't have the luxury of being able to develop a quarterback to trade away. I thought a couple years ago we actually did, but we stuck with Colt McCoy instead. A couple years ago when we drafted Nate Sudfeld, I thought that was an opportunity to actually have a quarterback that we could actually, invest time in, because Kirk really didn't need much time invested in. He just needed to play in big moments.
Right.
He didn't need like the coaching that Nate Sudfeld was going to get. So
Kirk needed reassurance is what he needed. He needed to be told, "This is your team. Don't worry about Robert. He's not the starter anymore. This is your team. Go with it. Run with it."
Well, even when they handed him the team, he still didn't show up in the big moments and things. And they got rid of RG3 for him to show him that this is your team. And I thought Nate Sudfeld was the guy that we bring in that could either we can build into a guy we can either trade away, or if Kirk leaves or Kirk gets hurt or is not good or he somehow falls off the wagon, we can put in Nate Sudfeld, and that's a guy we developed. We actually haven't seen a fully developed Jay Gruden player yet, a quarterback, and I don't think Colt's that. I think Colt was just the best available backup rather than like the guy we should have built and actually build him into a good quarterback or good quarterback for our system.
Yeah.
So that's personally what I think. We should have done that. Instead, we gave up Nate Sudfeld, and I mean he's bounced around the league now because he didn't have that security of being able to be actually trained by somebody. He kept going to practice squad, and we should have just got rid of Colt McCoy and put Nate Sudfeld as our backup, considering Kirk Cousins and Colt McCoy are two completely different quarterbacks. I thought Nate Sudfeld fit more in that the Kirk Cousins quarterback style than the Colt McCoy style. So,
yeah.
And funny thing about Nate Sudfeld, sorry about that.
You're good.
There. Funny thing about Nate Sudfeld is I actually so I in personal life I do security. And I used to do security at for a college living place here near Fresno State. And one of the tenants was a former Hoosier. He was a receiver, and he transferred out here. And I talked to him about Nate Sudfeld. I was like, "Hey, so you played with Sudfeld, right?" And he goes, "Oh man, Nate Dogg, yeah, of course." And I was like, "So can he actually play?" And he's like, "Dude, he is a legit baller." So, I mean, just goes to show that maybe sometimes you need to give people a chance, just like as you're saying, JD, to develop and maybe stick with them versus going with the person who's been in the system longer.
Yeah, I mean,
I see your point there.
I think we saw Colt's ceiling. I think we didn't know what Nate Sudfeld's ceiling was. For all we know, it's like what Kurt is, or even beyond what Kirk was for us. For all we know, it's half of what Colt McCoy is. But it's the opportunity to actually develop someone that we can actually put everything into him. Colt's bounced around the league, and what was he drafted by? He was drafted by the Browns. He jumped to the 49ers, and he ended up on our team somehow just because what RG3 was a quarterback, and I think Kirk Cousins got injured at some points. That's how he ended up being our backup, right?
Yeah.
He was a third-string quarterback.
And I mean, I'll argue we saw a ceiling. I think we saw a ceiling in 2014.
I agree.
And I mean,
I agree.
People talked about in 2016. I am confident that Colt McCoy come in here, F Kirk Cousins, this and that. And apparently you weren't looking at the same game that I saw, and people point out these I call them game. I don't care what anybody says. When they point to that 2010 season when they and they beat New England. Well, Eric Mangini, I think, was his head coach at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So he knows Belichick's system. So that I call that a mulligan, because you look at last half their losses came to Belichick disciples. So every blow finds a nut. We've seen it with Skins. So they go down to New Orleans, beat the Super Bowl champions who probably were on an off day, and then the biggest thing, game against Dallas, that's his saving grace with Redskins fans, is if you can beat the Cowboys. And I'm not saying, and when I say Red fans, I would say the hopeless ones. They're just like, hey, we're going to rah behind you and don't kind of pull back. And they didn't see that this came in and person there was divine in the game. But yeah, ceiling was that Colts game. No, what was the game he got knocked out with? The Rams?
The Rams game when he got knocked out.
Yeah, I was at that game, so I should have remembered that. We saw his ceiling.
The first shutout loss in Jay Gruden's career.
And then and you talk about shutout losses, and we talk about developing stuff. He made the Redskins. He threw his pass for the opposing team, and he went on.
You're breaking up some. Are you all right?
Yeah, yeah. We're good.
You keep breaking up on my end too.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh no, Rick. Can be back a bunch out here real quick.
I'm talking about camera up a little higher. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do that. Go. Huge. There we go.
Now, guys, can you?
Yep. Oh, that's better.
Yeah. Oh, while we're doing this, shout outs, HTTR and Skin does it all day. So, you guys, for up here, y'all got any questions? Let me know. Quarterback and Will I watched a little bit of football, and I feel like it's when offense, it's like playing Madden rookie level. They don't play defense in the Big 12. Just because I think you've seen West Virginia games, and I've make a case for Will Grier.
Well, first off, his wife is gorgeous, so that's the first thing. Look up pictures of Will Grier's wife, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. First off, his wife. So right there, to me, I don't see him having distractions. I see. So that's something right there, and he's been married since he's been at WVU, so he's been married for 2 years. One, he's not afraid to take chances. That's one thing I like about him. Like, for example, a handful of times at WVU, he only threw 7 interceptions last year. I think it's 7. He would throw the ball to his receivers and let them make a play. So he's not afraid to take that chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I like about him too. He's actually pretty athletic. He's a very athletic quarterback. He can run. He can throw. He throws on the run very well. And the air raid offense, I actually student assisted under I can't remember his name right now. It was under Bill Stewart, a student assistant for WVU at WVU. The same thing for Huggins. And the air raid offense, you have a lot of quick reads. And I think with an offensive line and the injuries we've had, a quarterback that can read a defense quick and make a quick decision is something we need. And the biggest knock on him is the fact that he held the ball too long sometimes. That was by design of the play, to let the parts of the play develop. But when he had to make a quick read, he made a quick read and got rid of the ball. It was straight up admitted by the coach that, I don't remember what game it was. I want to say it was like Oklahoma. They were commenting on the fact that he was holding the ball too long. He was like, that's not his fault. That's the play we called. He's waiting for it to develop. And he got sacked waiting for the play to develop. And he straight up said that. So that's the biggest knock on him. He's got a good arm. He actually throws faster than anyone else at the combine. I think he led in like speed of the ball. So that's why I like Will Grier. And like I said, I don't think he comes in right away and he's going to challenge for the starting position. And I think he's someone you can develop. And he's got big hands, so you don't have to worry about fumbling. You know all the things that he's got. A lot of the intangibles, pretty good footwork. And he'll, like I said, he'll trust his receivers. And if hypothetically, let's say we got DK Metcalf and we still have Dotson and we still have Paul Richardson, he'll let them make plays. He'll throw the ball and let them make a play. Kirk was afraid to do that. Obviously, Alex Smith was afraid to do that last year too. That's what I like about it. He's got a little bit of gunslinger in him. Not quite as much of a gunslinger as the quarterback in Detroit.
Stafford?
Yeah, Stafford. He's not quite as much of a gunslinger as Stafford. He doesn't throw nearly as many interceptions. He's a lot more judicial with when he takes his chances, but he trusts his receivers. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, resonates with me. And I'm also a W fan, so that's a little bit of bias there if you want to say that. But if you look at my draft, I didn't take him till the 32nd pick in the third round. So I traded back to get him. So that's a value pick to me personally. Mm-hmm. And I don't, like I said, I don't anticipate him starting year one. I don't anticipate him starting. I mean, he might get some playing time in year two. It just depends on, what happens with our quarterback situation. That's why I like Will Grier. Okay. And when he played teams outside of the Big 12, he actually had more yards and better completion percentage.
Well, I ain't to you. I did watch that Tennessee game, and they're awful. I'm actually in the Vol market pretty much, so I've seen them, and I know he like Christmas tree. So I like that, and I've only seen a couple of games, but I've always been biased, prejudiced against the Big 12. It's the same. I don't like Kyler Murray. Oh, he might just be through carbon copy.
Baker Mayfield was pretty good last year.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Homeboys.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. So that's the way the NFL is going. So you're going to have more quarterbacks out of the Big 12. That style of play is going to adapt to the NFL quicker because they're used to throwing the ball down.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to sell tickets too. But there and Amir and I talked about it, and we're still talking about the quarterbacks and everything. I was reading a couple of things about the connection with Ohio State's quarterback Haskins, and he was with Springs as a mentor, and he went to high school with Dan Snyder's son. And if say he's there at 15 and the Redskins take him, what's the plus? What's the positive? I know he was sin, but he's got an arm. Is he a product of having world-class speed at Ohio State? Will he get exposed in the NFL? That's probably my biggest question to you.
You ask Amir or Amir?
I'm asking both of you, actually.
What do you want to go for, JD?
Okay. I personally, I think Haskins I think he's still going to need to be developed a little bit more because he's only a 1-year starter. Now, obviously, that 1 year is a pretty good resume for that 1 year. But if you look, a lot of the analysts that I've listened to say that the way the offense is designed, a lot of them are crossing routes. He has a lot of talent. Like, okay, remember a couple years ago, I think I get his name right, Troy Smith.
Yeah, from Ohio State.
Yes, he won the Heisman, and he was not a great quarterback. He was surrounded by great weapons. Mm-hmm. Same with Tim. I love Tim Tebow, but Tim Tebow was surrounded by some of the best talent ever amassed on one team offensively.
Ken Dorsey back, he was at Miami too. Yep. He had all those weapons, and it made him look all world. Goes to San Francisco, and he's an egg.
I think it's a little bit of that. I think he's better than some of those quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a little bit of that. I think he's still going to need to be developed a little bit. I don't think he's ready to be. My opinion is, if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, he needs to start. Yeah, that's my personal.
I would agree.
He needs to be starting right away. He needs to be coming in and like, here's the keys to the franchise. Take us to the promised land. That's my personal opinion. That's why I don't see any quarterback that I would take first round. That's why I think Josh Rosen, we need to trade for him. And if you don't mind, I'll take 2 seconds and make a case for Josh Rosen.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Josh Rosen, to me, I think he's our best option. One, financially, he's cheap, and we're strapped with the cap right now. because of Alex Smith. We can't even cut. If we cut him, it costs us $20 million more to cut the guy. So we can't cut him this year. I think next year we can cut him, and it only costs us $20 million or something. But we can't cut the guy, and we need a quarterback that we can afford, and we can have him around for a while. Case Keenum, if we keep him this year, what's the play next year? So it just doesn't give us any certainty. The Rosen play gives us certainty for this year. In the next 3 years, because like Amir said, you can get him for 5 years. So we get him for 4 years. We have 4 years of quarterback certainty. And I don't judge him off of last year. And actually, I'm going to piggyback on your point a little bit, Corey. You're saying how he's had 3 offensive coordinators in like his first year in the league. You can go back. He actually had 4 different offensive coordinators in college.
See, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he's had 4 different offensive coordinators in college. They changed coaches twice in the first year. They changed a lot of offensive coordinators. He changed 4 different coordinators. So he could literally do what?
Yeah, I'm CLA. What's wrong with that school? They can't do anything in basketball with coaches, and now their football team is the same way. I think
it's just hire LeVar Ball, and he should just run. He got his son on the Lakers. He got his son on the Lakers, and his son is not a bust, but he's a bust by the standard of being drafted 2nd overall.
Oh yeah,
Honestly, with basketball, I can answer that question real quick. There's a very high standard because of John Wooden. So a lot of coaches don't want to coach there because of that high standard. You're really under a really big shadow when you're there. Yeah. So I just say that.
Yeah, so that and Amir and I, we talked about this weeks ago. I always say people are like when they were hiring the next Sean McVay, where they went out and got Matt McFleur and Zach Taylor and the younger guys. I'm like, you're not going to find the next two. You need to invent. You have to find your leadership. You have to find those qualities in a guy, because even you never say Bill Belichick, even when he was and maybe won his first Super Bowl, he wasn't the next Bill Parcells. No, he was Bill Belichick. He did stuff his way. And I just think with you got to find a guy. Doesn't matter if he's a coordinator. If he can't relate to guys, he's going to be nothing like, well, not even because he could relate to the guys, but if he doesn't have the wherewithal to be a leader and make hard decisions, you've got yourself another Norv Turner. You've got an off coordinator who's not really a leader. So that as an executive, because that's a different type of leadership. It's really a coach nowadays is an executive leadership position, and you gotta have that. Mm-hmm. So I get tired of hearing that term, looking for the next. No, you need to go out and find somebody who has a respect of people, who has a different mindset than the norm. You have to be against the grain. That's if the Redskins fired Jay Gruden, I think they need to find somebody who's a defensive minded head coach, something that not Jay Gruden, but Dan Snyder's only had once in his career. With Marty Schottenheimer, and they would probably had the best opportunity to be successful if he hadn't fired them. You just got to find that different type of mentality, and I think that's what people fall in that trap, and I call it a thirst trap. You're looking for that next sexy picture on Instagram.
Well, I always get a little upset when everyone's like, "Oh, we lost out on Sean McVay." Yeah, Sean McVay lucked out and went to a team that was. I mean, you can say what I don't like Jeff Fisher, although he is getting hired in the XFL. I saw that today.
You're kidding me.
For the Houston team, whatever the Houston team's name is in the XFL,
the Houston averages
got hired today, or he's up for the job.
8-8.
Yeah, but you can say what you want. The guy drafts good. Mm-hmm. The guy drafts. Sean McVay walked into a situation where he had a very good team. He just had to put a good offense on the field. They had a good defense. Yeah. And Jared Goff was, horrible under Jeff Fisher. And like 1 year, Sean McVay made him like not an All-Pro, but a Pro Bowler at least.
Yeah.
So and also not to mention it's LA. A lot of good free agents are going to come out.
Oh yeah,
We got Brandon Cooks got traded there. So a lot of good things are going to happen when you're in LA and the sun is always beautiful and it's shining bright. But I'm sorry, I got off topic with the Rosen thing. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good, dude.
So with Rosen, my point in that is he's adaptable. He adapts. He's had so many offensive coordinators. He can adapt to, a lot of different situations. Last year, I don't judge him off what he did. They had the worst offensive line in the league last year. Dave Johnson did not show up. Okay. His number one receiving option was Larry Fitzgerald. Now, I love Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Legend, but Larry Fitzgerald is not a number one receiver, especially he's more of a number two.
He's close to having his AARP membership. So.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. His second best weapon was Christian Kirk. That was the guy you're thinking of last night, Christian Kirk.
That's what I was thinking of.
Christian Kirk, and he was hit or miss. He showed up one game, and he would never show up again. Now, I think he's getting judged way too harshly on that because that team was god awful. Any quarterback you put on that team would have been bad. So I don't think judging him based on his rookie season fair. I mean, if you look at Sam Darnold was starter out the gate, right? And he only had more passing yards. And he was starter out the gate on a better team with a better offensive line with a decent defense. And actually, I think Todd Bowles is a good coach. I think they had a better coach. And he didn't lose the offensive coordinator midway through the season. And there's a whole bunch of things I can go with. The Bills are actually pretty good with Josh Allen, and there's not much of a difference in yards. There's a couple differences in starts, but I don't judge him harshly on what he did last year because of those reasons. And maybe I'm just making excuses for him. But and that's my personal opinion. I don't see. That's like a couple years ago. People I don't think Kirk could have done any better with what was around him. Mm-hmm. Some people thought that. I don't personally think that, but some people thought that. So that's my case for Josh Rosen. He fixes our financial issue. He gives us stability because we know our quarterback. Now, here's the thing. Also, what if Jay Gruden gets fired?
Right.
Apparently, Matt LaFleur, whoever we hired offensive coordinator, is supposed to be the next Sean McVay. Let's say
Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell. Sorry. So let's say he is the next one. Now we actually have a successor to Jay Gruden who has a repertoire with his quarterback. We don't have to go through this thing where we get the new coach and he wants to get rid of this quarterback to get his own quarterback. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's my thought process on it. I actually do think Josh Rosen will be good. I haven't in Madden, and that's just Madden, so it doesn't really matter. By the way, to piggyback off last year, I did win another fantasy football championship, back-to-back champion. I won last year too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I won one that I didn't pay attention to. I still got to get that. Hey, Anna. Hey, tell Brian he still owes me my damn money. I want you to go to work and put your foot up his ass if he doesn't give me my money. Sorry,
I mean, you might get that before you draft next year.
Yeah. No, I kid you not. I know we're going off topic. Hell, we're just having a good time, boys. And I saw the dude, he's one of my favorite ex-co-workers. And I said, man, I owe you money for the fantasy. He said, no, you don't. You won it. I said, Brian, I didn't pay attention to this. I changed my roster maybe 6 times the whole season. I changed it in the middle of in like week 8, and then I changed it right before the playoffs started. And then he said I won. I won like $175. Didn't even know it. So I guess karma was
my championship game. Patrick Mahomes. I was up like 40, and he was playing. I forget who was playing. I forget who was playing, and he's like 6 minutes left. I'm up by 40, and he gets like two touchdowns, a whole bunch of rushing yards, and I'm only up like 12 points, and it's like only last time like 1 minute in the game or something like that. I was sweating bullets, but I ended up winning by 4 points or something like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to win that. And
I spanked my deal by like 100 points, so it was embarrassing.
Well, the games
just
before
one
that
thing.
for me were like that, but that game, I was winning, and then like I was sweating bullets.
Yeah, they well we'll see. Hopefully this year we'll have some better quarterbacks out there that can you can draft. And I don't know what do you usually draft in a fantasy draft? Are you going to do the running backs first, or what do you pick, best player on the board? Or
It depends. I actually had the last pick in the draft this year, so I was determined to win the whole thing. Because everyone's always like, "Oh, you can't win if you have a late pick." I actually wanted to take a kicker just to prove I could win with a kicker, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I don't think I'm not. I'm not even. I'm not even that good a fan. I go with So I'm in a PPR league. So I go with a running back that gets a lot of carries and can catch the ball. I hate going with running backs that split carries.
Yeah, so you
don't pick a Redskins.
You weren't a New Orleans Saints fan when it came to the running back.
A couple years ago, I had I'll tell you why. A couple years ago, I had Ingram, and that killed me because Kamara would get all the good stuff. So I don't like handcuffing running backs either, because if they have a game where they get shut down, you got two players not scoring points.
True.
So I don't like handcuffing players. So, like, for example, a running back that I would go for is like Le'Veon Bell in the Jets. He's going to get a lot of carries. They're paying him a lot of money. He's going to get a lot of carries. I would that's just a player I know is going to get bulk carries. Connor for Pittsburgh is going to get another one. They don't even have a backup at this moment. I wouldn't go with anyone from the Eagles because they have Jordan Howard. I don't think they still have Jay Ajayi, but they have a whole bunch of running backs that are going to get carries. So that's the way I draft personally. So just really depend. Like Ingram's going to be a good one this year because he's really the guy on the Ravens right now.
Right.
So that's the way I draft. I hate drafting running backs that split carries.
Well, he's going to split carry. He's going to be a running back that splits carries with Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's different though. That's part of the scheme. He's not a running back though. That's not a running back though.
No, what they said, it was somebody who said, "Well, it's like they've got their second starting running back here," and I was like, "Come on now, guys, give that man a little bit more respect than that." But I agree with you. It just you can't have that split back because that's why New England. That's why I hate dealing with New England, because you may start like a James White because you think, oh, well, he's going to catch a lot of passes. And then here comes Rex Burkhead out of nowhere.
Or Sony Michel.
Yeah, Sony Michel. And, well, maybe
Sony Michel actually be a good pick this year.
Yeah.
Maybe like in the 6th or something like that.
He's got the most carries per game of like any Patriots running back since Blunt. Blunt got a decent amount when he played there. But like if you don't throw your trash away, like he'll bench you for a week or something. Bill Belichick will. So
that's why he's won 6 Super Bowls. So he's like, you gotta throw away your. Well, he could be bad. He could be like Arians and fire a guy for parking in the wrong parking spot. So you never know in that regard. But
Bruce Arians fired somebody for
y'all need to go. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you need to go and watch that All or Nothing. And I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd episode, maybe. He got one of those practice squad players and he brought him in the office. Said, you know where you're supposed to park it, right? He's like, yeah. He said, why'd you park there? He said, yep, you're done. See you later. Bye-bye.
That's a practice squad. It wasn't like he.
I mean, but still, though, the boy,
the boy's like trying to live out his dream.
Yeah.
For all we know, he's gone over that with him like 4 or 5 times.
That's true. Yeah, you're
right.
Like,
for all we know, parking in his spot was a euphemism for like doing his wife or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not supposed to park there. You're supposed to park around back.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a sleeper team this year. Is going to be Tampa Bay because of Bruce coming back and.
As long as Jameis Winston's there, I don't think so.
Well, you never know. Maybe Bruce might have found a way to get him crab legs and everything right there. And
public secret ingredients. He gets some Old Bay. That's what it is.
Yeah. And then he's got Leftwich too, so he can learn how to be slow and deliberate in his approach when he's throwing the ball and everything. So it's just
he had Michael Turner and then he added Deshaun Jackson and he didn't get better. I don't get that.
Yeah,
and his tight ends are good too. I don't get it. Sorry, I don't. like I get why Fitzpatrick was great last year. He's just like, I'm just gonna throw it to these guys and hope they catch it.
You
Well,
have
yeah,
OJ.
Yeah.
but-
OJ Howard's like the size of a lineman and runs like a receiver, and you can't find this brother on most of the, you can't be throwing to him like 10 times a game. And then Mike Evans, like you said, Deshaun Jackson, who
Mm-hmm.
And what's
he's
that
still
receiver, Humphreys? They had a great slot receiver. Yeah, Humphreys.
Adam Humphries, yeah. So they,
I can't think of the running back though, to be honest.
Oh,
I can't think of the running back.
Yeah, I can't think it.
Sleeper. That's a sleeper for fantasy. Keep that in mind when we figure it out.
Yeah.
And then they had that other receiver who was pretty fast. He I can't think of him, but he was torching Pittsburgh on that Monday night game. I think it was 14 or something like that.
That might have been Humphreys.
Was it Humphreys? Well, Humphreys
Yeah,
is the
Humphries is 14. Yeah,
yeah. Humphreys is 14.
I believe so. He was.
Humphreys
He
is
signed,
the white guy, right?
Yeah, he signed. Yeah, White Lightning. They signed,
No,
he
it's
signed-
it's a black guy. I can't think of what his name is now. Somebody JD's looking that
I'm
up.
looking it up.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I think that's a good
Mhm.
What's up, y'all? Okay, so we got comments. Let me see.
Boo Boo Wilson,
Damn, that don't sound right.
KJ Brandt. I'm just reading them all off.
Uh-huh.
Justin Watson,
No.
Chris Goodwin. That's probably Chris Goodwin.
Goodwin. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah, I
what it
think
is.
you're
Number
right.
12. Number 12.
Yep, that's him. Goodwin. Yeah, I think he was halfway decent last year too.
And their running back is Peyton Barber. So
yeah.
I had him in fantasy. Okay, so I actually did have him.
They drafted Ronald Jones too last year, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
At least y'all didn't have Kareem Hunt.
Oh, God.
I
he's
did.
He's in Cleveland now.
Dude, Cleveland's stacked. I know we're talking about the Redskins, but Cleveland
is
they're gonna be fun to
Cleveland's
watch.
my favorite. Is my favorite to win the AFC North.
That's what I cheer for. I hate Pittsburgh with a passion, so I cheer for the Browns so much.
It's such a
Well, you have
lovely
to deal.
city.
You have to deal with
though.
all the Steeler fans too. So
It's such a lovely
I know, that's why I
city.
do it. I troll.
it's
Oh,
like
come
it's like
on.
me. I have to deal with all the Raider fans and all of the Niner fans.
Well, orange is my favorite color, so I also like to root for the Browns for that reason.
Mhm.
Man, I still my jury's still out on Cleveland because they're like this hot, sexy Vegas pick, and you can buy talent. You can buy talent. You can sell seats. I just don't think you can buy chemistry, and I think their biggest X factor to whether they succeed or not is not on the field. I think it's going to be on the sideline. I think it's Freddie Kitchens, first time head coach.
Mhm.
How does he manage a whole team? Like, how does he manage Baker Mayfield's ego? How does he manage Odell's? How does he?
They should have hired Greg Williams, but
I completely agree with that.
Yes. Oh no, y'all 110%. I think Greg, but you know what? You know why Greg Williams didn't get hired? He's blackballed.
yeah,
He is. It's still
Since the Bounty Gate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sean Payton can be a head coach again, and it happened under him. But Greg Williams, by God, he can't. We can't just live and let go with that. That
Nope.
man, what he did, he won more games in like 10 games than Hugh Jackson did in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
The man couldn't become a head coach. That's asinine to me. I think the Redskins screwed him back in 2008. And I think this is kind of why we're where we're at now, is because you do dumb stuff like that. See, we came back.
I think Washington's cursed. We have a tendency of letting go of coaches, players, and this is not just with football; it's also with basketball. And they go somewhere and rock and kick ass.
And hockey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and hockey.
Mhm.
But and you make an interesting point, which you talked about, JD. You talked about Sean McVay, and people have talked about, and they've said it on here too. It's like, man, we had Sean McVay. If we had just fired Jay Gruden, let's flash back. Let's go back in the car, boys and girls. We'll go back to the end of the 2016 season. The Redskins, even though that 2016 season was ended in disappointment, this team had problems, and it goes back to what you said, JD. There was a lot of fight in that team. I don't think it was one game besides the game against Pittsburgh. The Redskins lost by like double digits in 2016, but they lost a lot of close games.
Mhm.
You think I'm thinking or tied. So I'm thinking that Detroit game. I'm thinking of the London game over there with the Bengals, the Cowboys game to start the season. You know,
I think the Eagles game that year too.
yeah. Well, no,
Well,
we swept
they swept the Eagles that year.
Swept the Eagles.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking of next year. My bad. Okay.
And then that Giants game, that's 3 games right there. And if you think about it now, that's an 11-5 season. And
I have some really rough opinions on that year.
Yeah,
when it comes to Kirk Cousins, but
he pissed the bed on that one. I can't make any excuses on that.
Honestly, though, everyone blames the defense that year, and I've made this case a million times on my channel. And that year, the year before that, the defense actually gave up more yards per game the year before that and more points per game. The only statistical difference really between 2016, 2015? The only difference between those 2 years is they gave up more third down conversions. That's the only statistical difference. Everything else was about the same. Yardage, points per game. Now, if they're giving up more yards, your argument has point if you're bringing up third down conversions. Right. Or they're giving up more points because it's causality. Why are they giving up more points? Well, they're converting more third downs. The real reason we sucked that year, and everyone's like, well, Kirk almost had 5,000 passing yards. I'm like, that doesn't matter. You can have 5,000 passing yards a day. If you're not scoring, it's pointless.
Stafford pretty much passes for 5,000 every year. He doesn't make the playoffs.
Who?
Matt Stafford pretty much passes for 5,000 every year. And
how'd Kirk do this year?
Exactly.
So he had almost 5,000 passing yards. He had less touchdowns. He had more interceptions. His red zone numbers were bad. Like he had horrible red zone numbers that year. The year before that, he was like 70% completion percentage and like 10 yards and in. He went down to 32% completion percentage in 2016.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at why we didn't do so hot, we have to take field goals almost every time we're in the red zone.
That's true.
He also had more turnovers in the red zone. The
D-Hop MVP.
Do what?
So D-Hop MVP.
Oh yeah. The only reason that we were even like close to putting up the same numbers offensively when it comes to points per game was we had 8 more rushing touchdowns that year. We had an 1,800-yard rushing attack with Rob Kelly. That is the only reason we're good that year. And everyone looks at Kirk's numbers and jerks off to it, and they think that's the greatest thing. His numbers, he had 5,000 passing yards. I'm like, it doesn't matter. How many years did Drew Brees have 5,000 passing yards, and the Saints were going 3-13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 2,000 to 3,000 passing yards and like 30 touchdowns and 6 interceptions or something like that. Yeah. He did that the year before, and he was very efficient in the red zone. That's why we're successful.
Right.
You can look at the defense all you want, but the defense didn't. None of those stats increased other than third down completion. So that is my reasoning for really not liking Kirk Cousins. So just throwing that out there. I don't know if I've ever told you guys that year really got me because a lot of Redskins fans were all about Kirk. I'm like, listen, Kirk is probably the issue we had that year because there's plenty of times where he could probably if he just completes a pass in the red zone, he gets a touchdown. We'd have beat Dallas. We'd have beat the Bengals, and so on. So, obviously, if we don't miss a field goal, we beat the Bengals too. But that's that's honestly my opinion. That's the bad taste that's always been stuck in my mouth when it comes to Kirk. That right there. So sorry, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, you're good, dude. Because I can agree with that. The problem with Kirk was that he and Sanchize and I have talked about this before.
Yes.
What's also currently wrong is the Redskins don't have a definitive leader.
Nope.
No, I agree.
Nobody deserves to wear that C.
That's why I do like Daniel Jones because he has those leadership intangibles that you look for. That you talk to any one of his teammates of who has command of that locker room, and they'll say it was Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the other thing that's crazy. Last year, and I guess I know I'm saying that for you, but last year, we actually were very successful without Smith, and he didn't go anywhere near close to the amount of yards Kirk did. But What was the difference? He was dubbed the bona fide leader of the offense.
Yep.
There was no question who the leader of the offense was, right?
Right.
And look how much more successful he was. It doesn't matter that he wasn't throwing as many touchdowns or as many yards, but he was the leader. And when he took the huddle, guys were like, "Okay, let's do this." There was
And
no
he didn't
question
turn the
who
ball
was.
over either.
You what?
He didn't turn the ball over either.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't.
Hey, JD, your mic's cutting out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sound muffled. That's a good connection. You sound muffled.
Good. And now?
Still sounds like you're in a hole a little bit.
In the hole. Is better.
We'll let you fix that real quick because we got some comments here.
Okay. Good. I have a lot of stuff. Let me just clear all this stuff out. You guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I think Corey cut off for a second, but.
Can you hear me better? Can you hear me better?
You still sound the same. I don't know what's going on. If it's with your mic, if your mic blew out or what.
Oh, it's on my phone.
Okay.
I hope not. It's a brand new phone. Maybe I'll just take out the case.
All right, guys, we're having some technical difficulties here. Just bear with us here.
Yeah. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you. It's just muffled. I think we'll just have to work with it.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what happened?
I died, and I came back.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, I'm back. I liveth thou.
So we said we have some comments from friends.
Yeah, we got some comments. So Redskins 24/7. He says, you guys hear about the rumor saying Skins are interested in trading up for Dwayne Haskins. I think Dan Snyder will do it because he needs something to sell tickets. I have my reason. Yeah, no, and that's what we said last night. I can I rather win. I rather win than sell tickets because winning's going to sell those tickets for you. I heard that and that today. And the biggest thing that I think about this, and it might be the most, it might be unpopular and people might get mad at me for saying that. The reason why they want Dwayne Haskins to come to DC is what's Prince George's County, where FedEx Field is? Majority African American.
It is nicknamed Chocolate City for a reason.
Yeah. It's Chocolate City for a reason.
Okay, guys, I don't be the one to say it. Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it. I'll be honest with you. I think that has a lot to do with it, and that will sell seats because the way people made excuses for Robert Griffin III, no matter what, they never could blame Robert for doing things that Robert shouldn't have done.
I think it's just the Redskin fan base, to be honest. I mean, I was one of those people.
Right.
They make excuses for Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think he just thinks that's going to sell, whether he's got the talent or not. I just think Dan Snyder just looks at another prize pig that he can sell, not getting better. He just wants to sell tickets to that crap hole in Prince George's County.
Yeah, but they have to realize by now that the fan base just isn't putting up with it, and they're not gonna. And yeah, we do want I'll say a shiny new quarterback.
Yeah,
but we want the right quarterback. I don't want Dwayne Haskins because Dwayne Haskins, he's supposed to be really good. I want to be sure that Dwayne Haskins is going to be good, and that Dwayne Haskins is going to be Dwayne Haskins, not Jamal Russell, not going to be Michael Vick, not going to be, plug in random quarterback who had mild success, but
pretty much a fat dog fighter.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. And we.
And just moving back towards the draft and everything. That's why not only quarterback's position is a position of need, but just depth in general. I mean, I also would have in the third round, if we could, a Bo Benchwall from Wisconsin. He's a guard.
I drafted who did I draft? George Little.
Mm-hmm.
I drafted George Little in the second round from he played guard over tackle from Ole Miss. So, but yeah, I agree. Offensive lineman's I think it's a big need in this draft.
That guard and that left guard spot, which I think that's been the weakest position on that offensive line for like the last few years.
It has been.
Laval, he just.
I mean, Morgan Moses is going to get called for holding every other play. But
he had more penalties than anyone else in the league last year.
Yeah, more. Yep. Yeah. What was it? There was a stat that we started out like with the most second and 10 or first and 20s in the league last year, or first and 15s or something plus like that.
Yeah, that killed Alex Smith.
Yeah,
we already had an offense that he wasn't like comfortable with, and you start him 10 yards behind the sticks. It was just really difficult for him to get in a rhythm whenever you're doing that shit. We'd move the ball, and then all of a sudden we're 10 yards behind the sticks.
And and it didn't help either. I feel like, and it was the Atlanta game that stuck out to me, and this is on the defense side of the ball. We couldn't stop anybody on third down. It was like third down and 15. Matt Ryan is just going, and it was something I hadn't seen out of that defense all season. And a lot of people pointed out was that HaHa's first game?
Yes.
No. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think that was HaHa's first game.
Falcons game was HaHa's first game.
Okay.
And then that team.
Was it next week the Texans then?
Next week was Tampa. And then the week
Tampa,
was the Texans.
And I mean, the team just like they like hit a wall, like a mental wall on third down. It was just like they went. I'm pretty sure Atlanta converted their first 10 third downs and whatever in that game.
Yeah,
a couple of them went for touchdowns. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. So those are two.
That to me, on my channel, I declare that as the turning point in our season because when we got HaHa Clinton-Dix, our defensive scheme, and I can do a breakdown of this if you guys want to see it. If someone comments wants to see it, the defensive scheme completely changed to acclimate him to the defense. We had some very good schemes going. Like Greg Minuski did a great job early in the season, disguising coverages, disguising blitzes, and we were very good at stopping the run with that too. Once we got HaHa Clinton-Dix, that all went away because we went to a basic defense, very vanilla. It was too predictable.
Right.
And it was so easy to call, especially whenever you're playing Matt Ryan to me is not elite, but he's a good, solid quarterback. I mean, I take Matt Ryan any day over what we've had the last few years. So that's exactly what the turning point in our season was. And the worst part was about HaHa Clinton-Dix is he never got acclimated to the defense. He couldn't figure it out, so they had to keep it very basic. And you can't bench the guy you traded for.
Right.
It doesn't look good.
No.
So, and that to me, that's my theory. Is that's the turning point. I mean, it didn't help that Alex Smith broke his leg, but his leg wasn't broken in the Atlanta game and the Tampa game.
Yep.
So it broke in the Houston game. So
and it didn't make any sense when you had these receivers like you had Demaryius Thomas. That the Redskins could have went after, or they could have went after to even try to get Deshaun Jackson because
or Dez Bryant.
Yeah, Dez Bryant was there as well. They could have went out and picked him up in free agency, and that was the Redskins needed at that point. They didn't need any tooling on that defense. They needed a weapon that Alex Smith could.
The Redskins outsmarted themselves.
They did, and that's shocking. That's really, I mean. To use the word Redskins and smart in the same sentence sometimes, it's mind-boggling. But I kind of joked with people at the beginning, like the midway point of the season. I'm like, this somehow we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. I think I told Amir that too. Like, yeah, it was just like I don't mean to jinx us, but that is what it is. And we got people on here saying, and we've talked about. Why people and I'm just moving on from that because I get my feelings get hurt. And let's see here. Why do people want Locke over Jones? I think we already kind of went over that a little bit. and saying that they like. I think they like more of the comp. Like me, I'm infatuated with the conference because I think he played the best competition. But
if you break it down, like experience, he played 4 years. He played in a tough conference. He's got a good arm. So some people think that the other stuff like that I mentioned, you could fix that. So it makes sense. It's just I just told you my opinion on it. I see it not working out personally. Just but
and people,
the allure of him is attractive.
Right, and we've got folks saying that trading for Haskins or anything like that. No, So
I mean, there's also the chance that the Giants aren't going to take a quarterback in the first round this year. It could be that they're just trying to build more towards the draft, build more through the draft, and they want to, with Eli still on a contract for what, this year, next year?
Yeah, I think it's another year. I think he's got another year on that contract.
And may want to tank for Tua.
Oh God, tanking!
I'm just saying, they may want to get Tua from Alabama. No. They may want to get Justin Herbert from Oregon.
Who's the last quarterback from Alabama that was good in the NFL?
Joe Namath.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Yeah. You go back and look. That's not a lie.
I mean, you got like what, McCarron?
He sucks.
Was it McLemore?
Yeah, McElroy.
McElroy.
They suck. I mean, it's just, it goes back to what quarterbacks were we talking about? Like Ken Dorsey and these guys that had tools around them. That's why they were good. Shout out to Big Simple. What's up, buddy? You can't like that. That's what gets me about Tua. They're like, well, he's really good. Hell, he's got world-class wide receivers that just go out there and do their thing. And I don't think he's going to be. And you look at it, who's the better quarterback in that national championship game? Trevor Lawrence.
I want Trevor. If I was tanking for anyone, it'd be Trevor Lawrence or the quarterback from Oregon. I can't think of his name right now.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. Yeah, I would be tanking for one of those two, not Tua.
No, and that's people sit here and they like it because they like Nick Saban, but like I said, when's the last good quarterback that came out of Alabama? Joe Namath. That's the only one I really.
I mean, knowing the Redskins, they might draft the linebacker and start him at quarterback.
Jesus,
they love the Alabama
It might be. Well, we could be like Stephen A. Smith and Tress Way might be starting up.
That's right.
He did throw that nice.
Stephen A. The reason why he said that is he threw one pass last year on a fake punt.
Right.
That's why he said that. To be fair, that's why he said that.
Oh yeah, I know.
He thought though that he started a game.
Yeah.
No, he
didn't.
He didn't start.
They got this brother Tressway. He's got a leg, but he throws. But yeah, I'm starting it, and like over the last couple, I kind of evolved on this. I'm going like you guys. I don't know. It might be something with Daniel Jones that I like, and I mean it could be the coach that he's played for, who had like 8 years of straight Mannings under his wing.
That's what I was gonna say.
And he knows how to get quarterbacks ready. Peyton Manning didn't have the best deep, strong arm. Neither did Eli. I mean, hell, Eli turned the ball over like 26 odd times in a Super Bowl
interceptions 4 times. So
yes. So I mean, you think about this, like, why not give this guy the chance? Does he have the maturity and
So 15 guys. So at 15, and you don't want to risk it. Do you take Jones at 15 without risking trading back and somebody else jumping ahead of you at that point?
Question: did we trade for Rosen?
No.
I mean, I still like Will Greer, and I would just let it ride with Case Keenum this year. So I say no. But if we caught him in the second round, yes.
I'd probably say take him there, because I don't think you're reaching. He fell in your lap. And I think that this kid, he's going to be legit. You actually have a Duke alumnus. A lot of people don't realize this, but Sonny Jurgensen is in the building all the time. And you've got a fellow Duke alumnus there, that somebody that can actually, mentor to him on the side as well, just about the area and the history of the team.
Not to mention, it would actually be Jay Gruden's first quarterback he's ever really chosen.
Yes, and you got Kevin.
I don't count Southfield.
No, I don't either.
I don't either, but it would have been nice to keep him.
He's more Doug Peterson's pet project, to be honest with you. So now, at least. But yeah, I think you give Daniel Jones, and I think Case Keenum, for whatever it is, I don't know if it's just him or what he does, but it seems like he can help these young quarterbacks out. And see, I think he did a lot for Jared Goff. No matter what anybody says, I just think his attitude and how he conducts himself, I think he is one of the rare victims of circumstances that people trade him away and everything like that. Whether it was with how many teams has he been on in the last 5 years? Like
Case Keenum?
Yeah, 5 in the last 5 years. So I think he's a victim.
Vikings, Texans, Rams,
yeah,
Broncos, us. Anyone before that?
Yeah. So I mean, he had that playoff season in Minnesota. I really don't care. You look at what Kirk Cousins did with the same team. And they can say, oh, they had injuries on defense and anything like that. But you're getting paid to throw 4,000 yards a season. So, I mean, and win games and not turn them over and beat elite teams. So,
we also had Deshaun Cook.
Yeah.
Most of the season. Case Keenum didn't have him.
That's true. Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Yeah, and Latavius Murray.
I'm sorry, Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have him, and he had Stephon Diggs. He had Adam Thielen. These guys were like 1,000-yard seasons.
Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph too. I mean, there was no reason why this team shouldn't have won the AFC North. I mean, NFC North. Good Lord, God, it's getting late. Hey
guys, I do have to bow out. So it's been great, but I have to get ready for work now. But
all right, man.
I will talk to both of you later. JD, are going to join us next Thursday for the draft?
Will do.
Yeah, we'll see. Right. We'll see you there. But JD, if you want to hang on here with us, we can keep on going back and forth if you like. So
yeah, the way I look at the draft, and we didn't want to go too much into this, but if you look at our division, look at the teams we're competing against. Look at Dallas. They have Cooper. They have Randall. Was it Randall Cobb?
Yep, they got Cobb now.
Yeah, they got Randall Cobb. Okay, they have Cooper. They have Cobb.
Austin.
They have Ezekiel Elliott. So if you look at the Eagles have Alshon Jeffrey. They also have Witten. You look at the Eagles, they have Alshon Jeffrey. They have Zach Ertz. They have the running back
Jordan Howard now. Yeah.
Who's the other receiver? Al Galore. Okay. Yeah. And if you look at the Giants, I think the Giants personally, are the weakest in the division. But they still have Sterling Shepard. They signed Golden Tate. They have, I think, the best running back in the league, and he's going to show it this year, in Saquon Barkley. So we're competing in the division, and we got to go toe-to-toe with these kind of offenses. And I don't think our defense needs much adjustment, personally. I think we have enough players on our defense that we can, basically some guys got to prove it this year. I get we want to draft depth, but if we keep drafting – this was what someone said to me on a Facebook group, is we should draft the best available player, which is going to be a defensive lineman, because there's just so many of them, right? And my opinion on it, if you draft the best available player every year, then you're only going to really stack up one or two positions.
Right.
You can't do that. And if you can't draft, if the player there is not the player you want, you trade back. Guess who never takes the best available player? Guess what team never takes it?
I'm going
to end with Patriots.
Yep, New England, yeah.
Patriots never take the best available player. They trade back and get the player that they want.
Yep.
It's smart. Best available. I'm sorry, you just don't take the best available player. Because if we go 5 straight years and we get the best available player and it's a defensive tackle, what have we really done with our team? We have a great defensive line, great. So if we don't if we get a quarterback that gets rid of the ball in like 2 seconds, our defensive line is negated. and every draft pick we've had for 5 years is negated. So I don't believe in taking the best available player. I think you take the player that you need. And I think the Redskins, I just pointed out how we don't know how great Geis can be. I think he can be good. Well, we got to make sure that we can go toe-to-toe with these offenses. We don't know who our number one receiver is. If we draft Metcalf, I'm sure he'll be number one. Hakeem Butler, we get in the second round, which if we trade back would be my pick. Hakeem Butler could be a number one receiver. We don't have a number one. I mean, who, Dotson? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
And we don't have. I mean, Jordan Reed, when he's healthy, is an elite tight end. I'd say he is a good tight end. The problem is his worst ability is availability.
Right.
And I mean, you can't play from the bench. It's just the way that football is. And I played football. I mean, the 2 injuries I received are a broken collarbone and 3 torn ligaments in my right knee. So it's a tough sport, but gotta be able to stay healthy, you know.
And I think, and you talk about the receiver, I think a lot of people undersell Paul Richards. I don't know why, but I think they do. I think he came into Washington hurt after that Seattle, after coming from Seattle. So I'm going to call that last season a wash for him. But I think if he's healthy, he gets that knee right, he gets his shoulder right. I think he's going to be a sleeper on this team for improvement.
Well, imagine if we add DJ Metcalf.
Yes.
And he's our third weapon. Imagine if he's our third weapon at receiver, and Metcalf is able to, draw double coverage.
Mm-hmm.
How much better is that going to make Dotson? How much better is that going to make Trey Quinn, and Paul Richardson, and Jordan Reed, and even Jeremy Sprinkle, or whoever our tight end is? So how much better is that going to make everyone else in the team if we actually can get maybe not a number one, but someone that can actually draw enough attention that everyone else can get their opportunity?
Exactly. Yeah.
We have a bunch of number twos. That's the problem with the Redskins.
No number ones, and just we have a lot of Indians and no Chiefs. That's the thing. And when it comes, it's like we said, there's no definite leader, veteran on the offense. Not really in that receiving core, because a lot of these guys are young or they're just new to the team. One player, and we go back to the defense. One player that needs to step up this year on defense.
You want me to pick one?
Yeah.
Ryan Anderson.
I can see that.
I got another one. I can give you like 1A, 1B.
Give me 1A and 1B.
Okay, well, Ryan Anderson's 1A because we drafted him second round 2 years ago. And he needs shit to get off the pot. We need to know what he is.
Right.
We need to know if he's going to be our outside edge rusher or whatever we're looking
fullback.
For. Or the other person I'd say is I like him, but he's a later round pick. So we'll see. Sean Deion Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah. He was like Saban. I think Saban's quoted saying he's one of the best middle linebackers ever coached. When it comes to being a field general. And I think we're underselling how much Landon Collins is going to affect that team.
Yeah. And
I said this in my video. We don't know how guys progress in the offseason. So we're picking blind. We don't know all the information. So for all we know, crazy enough, Troy Apke could have been a workhorse in the offseason. And now you got Landon Collins in the building showing him some of the tricks of the trade. And he comes out and he's like, he's actually a good safety. We don't know that.
And he had speed. He's fast too. He had what was it, the top 40 last year?
Oh yeah, he had the top 40 coming out of the draft last year.
Yeah, so he's got speed.
And he's got good work ethic too. Yeah. His 40 time was good. His 3-cone drill was good. The only issue he had was tackling and zone coverage. Mm-hmm. So you don't know. We're just in the dark. We don't know. For all we know, Stroman steps up and he's like a shutdown corner now. We don't know that. There's just so many things up in the air. So we're just really guessing at this point because we don't know all the information. The Redskins know all the information. Sorry, that's my printer. The Redskins know all the information. We don't. Right. So they can really go in the draft and draft so many different things that are way out of source with what we're looking at. And they're like, well, we don't need a safety. We have Troy Apke. We don't need a corner, we have Stroman, or we think Quentin Dunbar is actually going to step up this year, or whatever
Right.
case may be. So,
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And it goes back to our earlier point talking about the schedule and everything. We're comparing everything that we've saw, and we're not considering what's happened between the end of December last year and what's about to happen come September. Because a lot of these teams, it could be players could have regressed, some could have progress going forward. So and that's what makes this game exciting is that
yeah.
there's a lot of variables there. It's a whole lot. This team could, I mean, the Redskins could very well shock people, and they're going to be like, "Well, where did they come from?" Or they could live
I
up
mean,
to.
the front office keeps saying we're like one step away.
Yeah,
They keep saying we're like once. So there's something that they know that we don't.
right.
What and here's the thing that I'm going to bring up, and I know it's kind of like taking a shot at a guy who's gone, but we really don't know how much DJ Swearinger could have negatively been impacting that locker. We really don't know.
Fair point.
So for all we know, he was in there just he might have just been. I mean, he's been on like 5 teams since he's been in the league, and he's only like 26,
right.
25 or 26. So for all we know, he's been spewing vinegar and poison everywhere in the locker room. And if you can't have that around your rookies. First off, we have a young team. We have a lot of young guys in the defense. The 2 oldest guys in our defense right now are Kerrigan and Josh Norman.
Right.
Everyone else is like below 27 years old or something like that. So we have a young defense. We have young guys on the offense. You can't have that kind of vigor and that kind of poison around those young guys.
No, you're right.
And I honestly, I don't know. This is not an insider thing. I don't know this, but I have a feeling that he's gotten in trouble for his mouth in the past, and him calling out Minuski. And this is how classy and how like the character. What am I saying later about character guys that have heart? The Alabama boys, the Paynes and the Allens and the Andersons and even the Hamiltons, the Sean Young Hamilton, came out in support of their defensive coordinator and say it's not him.
Right.
And so we don't know the impact of getting rid of someone like that. We don't know how bad he was in the locker room. I wish we did. I wish I was a fly on the wall and know how bad he was in the locker room. For all we know, his impact could have been negatively and like halting the growth of everyone in that secondary. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you
right.
just don't know. I mean, look at how Terrell Owens destroyed 2 Super Bowl caliber teams.
Right. Yeah.
So probably 3 if you count the 49ers. But
I mean,
so
yeah, you're right.
So the impact of one player can do that, especially if his voice is loud enough.
And you think about like I always look at, and when you say that, I think of Bashaud Breeland.
Yeah,
the Redskins needed a corner, and we said people would sit there and be like, well, why didn't they re-sign this guy? I mean, if you follow this cat on Instagram and stuff, you kind of can peel back a little bit. You don't see the full picture of what's going on, but I mean, some of his tweets, Instagram posts, they were kind of like, I don't know if this cat is still all there. And it's the same thing with Sue Cravens.
I was about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. Think about like Sue Cravens, the same position spot, and the guy didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And who do you think he's spending most of his time with? The safeties don't go hang out with the defensive linemen.
Right.
Their drills are all with so something's going on there.
Yes.
So,
and I mean that could be a reason why that's a reason why Perry Fuel may have gotten fired. Is maybe he wasn't managing that room properly, and they didn't like it, and now they still didn't have it with the guy that they had got from Virginia Tech. So we don't, it's a lot of variables, and we can't claim unless we're in that locker room to know what's going on. We can only follow the trends and follow the smoke for the most part. But yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up for me in that respect, and I think we're on the same page there.
Let me ask you this real quick: Do you think Gruden should have been fired after last season? If you want a minute to think about it, I can answer, but go ahead.
I've struggled with this. I have. I don't think it's fair to him to fire him because it was kind of the same situation but I mean, I hold him responsible. So I'd say, I'll let you answer. I gotta get my thoughts together.
I say hell no, that he shouldn't have been on the hot seat, because in this the problem with saying that Jay Gruden needs to be fired. Listen, the guy went 7-9 with, by the end of the season, he had third string offensive line, a fourth string quarterback. We had a second string running back in, and you can say which one. Adrian Peterson's not the Adrian Peterson of old. He's second string. Our defense wasn't what it was, and we went over that. I guess, and all of the weapons on offense were not consistently playing, and the man still got the team to 7-9. He got the team to be competitive, not in every game, because obviously we're playing Super Bowl caliber Eagles and things like that late, but he got the team to be somewhat competitive in a handful of those games. They still almost won the Texans game. They were competitive in the Dallas game, and at that point, we were down to our second string offensive line. There's a lot of scenarios with Jay Gruden where he's played, and this is the last 2 years mainly, where he's had to go into a game where he has a makeshift offensive line, or he's not having his best players on the field, and the Redskins are still competitive. Look at the Seahawks game we had 2 years ago. We were a competitive football team in that game, and we had none of our starting offensive linemen were in. Guys we got off the street that week, and we were competitive in that game. So I look at that and I'm like, listen, if this guy's getting us to 7-9 with third string offensive linemen, fourth string quarterbacks, backup running backs, offensive weapons out everywhere. We didn't have Richardson for more than 3 games this year, did we?
Nope.
Dotson was out, in and out of games. Jordan Reed's in and out of games. Vernon Davis, I don't think, was injured, but he dropped a lot of passes last year. Just all that, and he still goes 7-9. What's that guy going to do whenever he gets a healthy team?
Right. Yeah, I know.
That's my thought process.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with you there, and I like I said, I've struggled with this. I say, sometimes like just fire the man and get him out of misery. I'll say this. I don't think it's a point of do you fire him or not. Oh Lord, here comes my cat. do you fire him or not? It's you can't fire him, because who are you going to get?
Well, yeah, like if we fired him last year, what coach would have taken on our situation with?
Yeah, it's like, who the hell would want to come to DC? I had an argument during Christmas when I went home and visited my family. They're like, Jay Gruden needs to get fired, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I said, why? Because the team's losing. I said, well, let's look at X, Y, and Z. And they were like, no, he needs to get fired. Somebody will come here and they'll be the coach. Well, boys and girls, let me tell you something. He tried to court who Dan Snyder court Todd Bowles and Greg Williams to try to come in.
Oh, he tried to when he tried to get Wade Phillips.
Yes, he couldn't get Wade Phillips. He couldn't get Wade Phillips to come. So you can't fire the man unless he quits. He's going to have to quit.
I mean, the only thing you're going to get, you might get Marvin Lewis if you want a Marvin Lewis type coach.
God.
You might get the other Harbaugh brother. So
yeah.
You'd have to get a coach out of college. You have to get one that's going to want to prove themselves, and that hasn't worked out very good for the Redskins. Look at the Spurrier years. Although Spurrier did do well in the AF, so maybe we should relook at that.
Yeah, they're still playing right now. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. Couldn't make payroll. I'll even argue with this. Redskins, I guess they'll go out and get your old boy from West Virginia. They'll make a call down there to Houston and bring old Dana up there, and we'll run air raid next season. But
I don't like Dana Holgerson. I hate him. I don't like him one bit. No. He claimed he can make any quarterback elite, and he had to continue to the guys he recruited sucked. And the only reason we got Will Grier is he got in trouble for PEDs or suspected PEDs at Florida. That's the only reason we got Will Grier. Because we had an open roster spots. That's the only reason we got him. It wasn't we recruited him it's like he didn't have many options to go anywhere. So
Right.
and we got lucky. But I mean, I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes. But I don't. What coach would want to take on a system problem where there's not a quarterback? The current quarterback is $20 million in salary cap. You can't cut him because it'd be $40 million hit this year. Then you have $0 to put towards free agents, and you don't have extra draft picks to make up for that. You have just your normal draft picks to make up for that. So no coach would accept that, and no coach would accept that next year. I don't think either. That's why I said that. That's why you get Rosen, because you might be able to get lucky, and if you do want to get rid of Jay Gruden, you get lucky, and the offensive coordinator, they might hang on to him. And I just want to throw this out there. I disagree a little bit when you said earlier that you need a defensive-minded head coach. And here's why. Because a lot of defensive-minded head coaches, if you get a defensive head coach and you actually have decent offensive coaches, they keep cycling those out as head coaches in the league, so you're constantly changing offensive coordinators. So it's better to have an offensive-minded head coach because not as many other teams are going to steal your defensive coordinator away. So that's what I mean. You could take it with a grain of salt. Theo Riddick and who's the Chris Charlie Casserly or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
both of them have both signed off on that. You need an offensive-minded head coach because you're more likely to keep stability because you're less likely to lose your coordinator for the other side of the ball.
I got you. Okay,
if you have the same head coach, you're going to keep the same offense. You're just going to get a different guy in your ear calling plays. So I kind of agree with that. Although, however, I would love to get Rex Ryan to be our defensive coordinator. I was hoping for that last year. I think that's why we signed Rex Ryan to be our linebackers coach.
Rob Ryan.
I'm sorry, Rob Ryan.
I mean, interestingly enough, before he was in Buffalo, the teams that put him in unemployment were the Redskins. You got to think about that. Back in 2012, he got fired after they lost to RG3 to clinch the division when he was in Dallas. And then when the Redskins blew out the Saints in 2015, he was fired after that. So, and I know he interviewed for the job.
Well, I don't want Rob Ryan as a coordinator. I want Rex Ryan.
I know, but I think they felt sorry. Oh no, I know you want
Sexy
Rex.
Yeah,
sexy. The other sexy Rex. Yeah. So no, I see the point there, especially, how it changes over and everything. And if you've got the defensive coach or a defensive minded coach, it's gonna flip hands. And it always seems like a defensive minded head coach gets some random dude to be their offensive coordinator. Like they really don't care about that side of the ball as much. And I just seen it like who did Rex Ryan have as his offensive coordinator? I think he lucked up and got old boy from San Francisco. I can't think of Greg Roman. Was his offensive coordinator in Buffalo one year, but they really didn't do anything. But you can't really tell who are these mastermind coordinators.
Who's with the Jets? I know he got in a fight with one of them.
Oh gosh,
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's was it Schottenheimer? No,
it wasn't.
It wasn't Brian Schottenheimer.
No.
Yeah, but. No, and I mean it's we're just gonna roll the dice and see what happens here. But I don't know. Do you have anything else for us, man? Any burning points or concerns or stuff we should be looking out here, especially coming up on next, I guess a week from today. Any burning questions or anything like that?
No. My priority. I think the Redskins need to go receiver first. Offensive lineman needs to be a second priority. Now, I don't think it should be our second pick because I think we get a good offensive lineman a little bit later. Me and Amir's drafts both showed that we can get down a little bit later. If we feel the need, free safety and cornerbacks. And the one thing I don't think we need defensive line. Linebackers and defensive line are the two positions I think we're okay in. We can get some depth later if we think we've got someone that falls. Really, you can make an argument for corner because if you don't have faith. Like for example, let's say Greedy Williams falls to 15. If you have Greedy Williams on one side of the ball and you have Norman on the other side, you pretty much got 2 shutdown corners. So you can make that argument that that would be a good option for us, and I wouldn't be mad if we took that option.
Right.
I do think that we have a bunch of young guys that we need to, actually give an opportunity to, and picks in the past need to have some value to them as well. And you can make the same argument with the safety. So let's say we have an option to get like a good free safety, and we can have Landon Collins and a good free safety, and we have the next Legion of Boom back there, like Cam Chancellor or Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor.
Right.
So you can make the argument for both of those, but I still think our priority needs to be wide receiver, offensive tackle, free safety, corner, and then luxury pick if we can find one and we have an opportunity and one lands in our lap, if we can get a good tight end. That's what I believe. I don't think running back is a priority. Quarterback, a backup, yes. Starter, no. Personally, my opinion on that. And if you want to add depth to the linebacker and defensive line spot, you can. By that point, they're going to be later in the draft anyway, so you're rolling the dice anyway. So
I got you. I heard everything you said, but my cat's here bothering me. He's a little jackass. No, stop, bad boy. Anyway, no, I agree with you to those points. I think skill position has to be addressed in this draft, whether it's wide receiver, it's tight end. I think this draft is very deep for wide receivers. So it's even, like you said, trade back if DK Metcalf is in there and get Hakeem Butler. Josh Money Rosen, if you can trade for him and not give up the farm. Emphasis on giving up the farm on that one.
Okay, so what would you say to this? No picks this year. Next year, they give up next year's. They give up Keenum, next year's second, and next year's 5th round pick.
I'd be fine with that. I would be. I'd be fine, but I don't think he's worth a first rounder in any draft. And I would give up a second round. I'd maybe give up a third this year if it came down to it. I think we have 2 thirds. And
we got a compensatory pick because we lost somebody we drafted.
So
I think it was Crowder. I think it's because of Crowder.
Yeah. So I would have gave up. I would have gave up that, but I wouldn't get if he comes at a cheap price because we joke and say we don't joke, but we say that he's cheap on the books, but he could still be expensive on the game. And are you serious right now? Get out of here.
I don't know, man. If we got him and we still gave up, like, let's say we gave up next year's, let's say we gave up like 3 picks. Nice cat.
Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Ollie the Warpath cat on here. Say hi, buddy. Say hi. Say hi to JD. Hi.
Okay.
He just, you got to be kidding me, cat.
Cats want attention.
Yeah.
Cats want attention.
His mom went to sleep on it because usually.
I mean, let's say we do trade away the 1st round pick next year for him.
Right.
And he ends up getting like 4,000 passing yards. Like he's like 35 and 10 on the touchdown to interception ratio, and we end up going like 9 and 7 or 10 and 6. Is it worth it then?
Yeah. I think I think you would say it would be worth it then because of what he put together, the body of work. And then I think that even if we do get Rosen, I think that's going to give you an opportunity to draft the wide receiver that you want because you don't give up 15. Mm-hmm. So if DK's there, or even Hollywood or one of the Brown boys, if they're there, you can go and get them. Or even if TJ Hawkinson or like in the later round, if Irv Smith falls to the 2nd round, you can go out and get these guys, and you've got your weapons that you need.
And you can build that for like 5 years.
Exactly.
5,
you
10
have
years together.
You have your you honestly have your weapons for the up and coming year, and that's what we have. Like where we'd be like Philadelphia, where we just read off what they do. They've got a hard-nosed running back. They've got or elusive running back. They've got a tight end in those spots, and they've got a great wide receiver. The Redskins could theoretically get all that in one draft.
And they already have Geis, so they don't have to worry about drafting a running back.
Yeah,
and he's another year rested.
Yeah, so he's been playing Fortnite, so
I do have one thing to say. I think Adrian Peterson could be a locker room issue this year.
I agree, and I was thinking this. You took the words right out of my mouth, because why did he leave New Orleans? Because he didn't get enough carries. Yeah, he didn't get enough carries, but they didn't think Kamara was going to be what he was. Maybe if he was going to be the direct number 2, maybe he would have been fine. But he was relegated to number 3. Mm-hmm. So,
and why did he leave Arizona?
Because David Johnson.
He said, this is what Adrian Peterson said this year. He said in an interview, and it's getting late. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
we're not West Coast. If we were on West Coast, we'd have plenty of time.
We're not Amir.
I'm pretty sure, your cat is probably going to want your attention.
This is the most asinine thing I've seen, man. I'm so sorry. That is so rude to you and everybody else.
That's okay. It's okay.
Go ahead.
He said he wanted to get 1,500 rushing yards this year. And I'm like, that's not happening with you splitting carries with Geis.
No.
Our offensive line would have to improve immensely. We'd have to have the Dallas line of the 90s for them guys to be able to get 1,500 yards. For both of them combined, probably to get 1,500 yards this year, that would be a task in and of itself.
Right.
I think we can probably get about 1,800 with both of them. But one of them alone, or at least Adrian Peterson, because he's not going to get the bulk of the carries. Geis can get those.
Right.
Because he's younger, he's faster. I don't know if he's stronger. I doubt he's stronger. Adrian Peterson's a workout machine. But he's younger, he's faster. We've invested more into him. We have him longer, so we need to make sure we get him acclimated and we use him. I don't see Adrian Peterson getting the yards, and I don't see him taking that very well. That's just his history does not show that.
Right. And it's like you said, like we said earlier, it's about trends. We see
also,
what
guys can catch passes too. Sorry.
Yes.
He's versatile.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson was actually pretty versatile last year. Got his first touchdown pass since 2011 or something last year.
Yeah.
So, but Geis is more versatile. He can play on third downs. He can play in passing downs. Adrian Peterson can't. So,
I think they'll probably cut down on the yards lost on. I think Peterson, he had a lot of where he just lost a lot of yards on a lot of runs. I'd like to see where he was as opposed to everybody, all the rushers in the NFL over 1,000 yards.
Oh, he did miss 3 games and he still hit 1,000 yards. So that's still a pretty good feat. And he had a couple games where he only got 20 yards.
Yeah.
So he had his moments, but especially against the Eagles, he had that one good run against the Eagles.
Yeah, and then that was it.
Pretty much it. It's I'm done for the rest of the year, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck. I have nothing else to add, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on here and doing this with us. I know we got it together kind of quickly, but hopefully we're gonna see you next week. And oh my gosh, hopefully we'll see you next week, and you come on here when you get, if you're, next week when you're here, and or if you got the time, come by, step by. We'll email you. My cat will be here as well too. He says good night to everybody, and we'll be here. We'll be here, man, and we appreciate you coming by and just drop in, and we'll get your instant draft analysis, because hopefully, maybe you'll be.
I just now clicked on it. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
What happened now?
I just now clicked on it on YouTube. I could have been watching us the whole time and making comments to people's remarks.
Yeah, you could.
I just realized that.
We'll be doing that. Yeah, we got a lot of people on here. Skins fans all day. He sees us grinding up here, and DC, Big DC, he's been doing it up here with DC Big. Excuse me, and then 99 Problems over One Blessing. These guys, they're some loyal folks. And Cameron Watkins came in and said hi, and Big Simple 422, who we talked to last night, and he's passionate about these burgundy and gold skins as well too. So Yeah, follow Redskin Rant, the last comment down there. Subscribe to this dude. And we will talk to you all. We always say here, love, peace, and hail. And we'll be talking to you real soon. It's bedtime here on the East Coast, 1:45. We'll talk to you later. Talk to you later, guys. Goodbye.
All right. Hail.